Hi, everyone. This is Andrew Kissin, Senior Marketing Manager for Zahn Dental. I'm here with Bennett Napier, Chief Staff Executive for National Association of Dental Laboratories. And Bennett has been kind enough to join us and really give us a rundown on where dental laboratories are heading in 2020, where we think the industry is going. Bennett, it's no secret that the market has changed, continues to change. The amount of laboratories in the US has gone down. From everything that you're seeing, what's happening and how do dental laboratories kind of position themselves for the next steps?
Sure, Andrew, appreciate the opportunity to be with you and kind of just share collaboratively with you and the Zahn customers, and happy to have this opportunity. Just I'd say in a general rule, it's kind of the journey that we're all on. And we'll talk about digital workflow and specifically, but just if we look at just the lab market trends in terms of consolidation, it's kind of a slow drip. It's little by little, there's consistent consolidation occurring. We do see, some indicators that the pace of consolidation will probably pick up over the next 3 to 5 years. But it's been, between 2 or 3% kind of consolidation year after year for quite some time. But there are indicators, just as we talk about digital technology at all the different industry meetings and just the regulatory components that are coming with it. In some cases, that some of those factors are probably going to see an increase in terms of consolidation over the next 3 to 5 years. So I think the good news for everybody is the business is growing, if you will. The demand for dental lab services continues to grow, although again it's single digits for the most part, depending on where you are in the country. It's slow but steady, so it's definitely not going down. It's not below zero, so that's the good news for everybody. And so I think for small, medium, and large labs, it's really dependent on what their niche is. There's room for everybody. You just have to have know what your niche is and own that. And then just pay attention to what's going on around you continually, and just stay true to your mission. So.
And you touched on it. I feel like it's one of those misconceptions. The amount or the number of dental laboratories is reducing, but the volume is still there.
Right.
And it's one of those, hey, the number of labs continues to decline, but the work is still there. It just means more work for less laboratories. And you bring up a good point of staying focused and maybe creating a niche and working in there. What we've seen is Zirconia created a new market years ago, and now digital dentures is coming, and maybe even here. We were at shows, the Zahn Expo, the IDT show, LMTs, the major shows, and it seems like everyone is interested and wondering, is it time? Is it finally time to take my denture workflow digitally? And do you have any input on that, or where do you see digital dentures kind of hitting the sweet spot, gearing up for 2020 or heading into Chicago midwinter?
Yeah, if I look back, maybe even 3 years ago, and the digital dentures were being discussed at all the different industry meetings in terms of breakouts and some of the keynotes. And there was all these different, differing opinions of how fast it was going to take, for us to get to, utilization, if you will. And I think probably just based on, a lot of aspects of it, the technology itself, the players that are in the market, certainly the labs that have been beta test sites and things of that nature. I think it's going to come a lot faster than some people thought. Some people were I don't think people denied that it was going to happen, but I think some people were naive on how fast. And so, I think it's going to happen much faster than most people thought. I think, like you said, we're probably in some respects already there, in the context of, is it an option and can it be done, efficiently and effectively and profitably? For some people, they're already there. It's not, the total market, but the fact that other certain players are already doing it and making it work, is going to speed that path. And so it's I think that's exciting. There's, to some standpoint, there's a necessity for it with, the demographics of the consumer base with baby boomers and things of that nature. We really don't have 7 to 10 years to wait to get this right. We probably have 2 to 3 max with the demand that's going to be there. just with the consumer, demographics in the U.S. So,
Yeah, and it seems like there are solutions, and I think whether it's a one specific workflow, it's additive, it's subtractive, it's outsourcing, you know, dental technicians, owners, businesses seem to have found a solution, and now it's just what solution works best, and how a technician works both digitally and analog to make that perfect workflow work.
yeah, I think one, aspect of people's concerns was, are we going to lose the quality? And if we look at CAD CAM from a comparative standpoint, over the last 7 to 10 years, as different groups, including NADL, looked at market research, kind of tracking people's viewpoints on, the quality of a CAD CAM produced restoration compared to analog. Over the course of time, as the technology improved, the materials improved, and people's understanding of how to use the technology and materials, the quality of CAD CAM restorations, in many respects now, in most research shows that people say it's better than analog if you use it correctly. And so, we have to assume that dentures are going to be in the same outcome. Will it be there in, the first year? No. But, I think we've learned a lot from the CAD CAM integration, and that's going to allow us, on the digital denture front to use what we learned from that standpoint and make it work in removables. And I think everybody in the supply chain kind of learned their lessons from CAD CAM, although most, are using printing instead of CAD, but, the principles are the same. And so I think people know what to look for to ensure that they get the highest quality outcomes, because, nobody wants to mitigate quality. I mean, we all know that that's important for everybody. And so I think we know what we didn't know before, and that's going to allow us to do this much faster and maybe better, than the early days of CAD CAM integration.
What about the laboratory? And you just hit on it, maybe a lab or a technician that already adopted CAD CAM, but more specifically for crown and bridge, and hasn't really taken that step into the removables or the full denture workflow. How do you see that process working, or is it easier for a crown and bridge lab who's already got a scanner and maybe starting to think, oh, I can do partials, I can do full dentures? How do you see that workflow or experience going for that technician?
I think people have had the wherewithal, if you will, over the last 3 to 4 years as crown and bridge became, it's always been competitive, but certainly with average selling prices going down in certain product categories, and just seeing the demographics, the trends of demand for removables, crown and bridge technicians have been, going to removable classes for the last 4 or 5 years, religiously, if you will. And so, I think it's not as scary as it was. And so, I foresee that, just in that sense of, their ability to make it work for them and expand their skill sets and their product categories is going to be much easier maybe than they thought it was going to be. It is a unique skill set, especially just in terms of certainly the analog processes, but I think people have been able to adapt, and there's plenty of, resources, if you will, through social media, through the manufacturer partners. So there's not any lack of opportunity for people to learn what they need to be effective at it. And I think that's, I think that's really good, because if they want to do it, there's so many resources they can draw upon to learn it and learn it quickly and be good at it.
Yeah, and I think to bring home that last point, there's so many resources, there's so many opportunities. Most laboratories could have already taken some of the courses or adopted some of the workflows, and now it's kind of figuring out how does it all work together. And it's partners and relationships that labs have with doctors that bring home accounts, and distribution companies have with customers. So it's going to be an interesting time, definitely. Well, thank you, Bennett. Thanks for joining us here for Zahn's Tech Talk. We look forward to seeing you soon, and appreciate all the wisdom and advice you've been giving to dental laboratories across the country.
Andrew, just our foundation, just want to thank Zahn Dental and your entire team for the consistent support of our the dental laboratory profession, and you just great poster childs for giving back, and through foundation, and not only our foundation but certainly on the clinical side. Just greatly appreciate all of your service to the community, and great partners to work with. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Bennett. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.